Alright fam, good morning. It's the 16th of December. It's 4:45 a.m. and I have a full day of traveling ahead of me. I'm basically going to Madrid to celebrate Christmas with my family over there, which I'm super excited for. But that also meant because I need to catch a flight at 11 a.m. that I needed to wake up a little bit earlier today. But we are right now 117 days out from the Rotterdam Marathon. I have a 10-kilometer workout today on my schedule, easy pace. But even though it's not the right amount of volume that I need to run right now, it is still something that I wanted to do, because as I'm traveling, it's very hard to basically, lock in a good amount of volume or a workout. Maybe you can recognize yourself in that when you're traveling a lot and still want to put in the work. So I prefer to basically wake up early to still dialed in. So I'm basically not dependent on circumstances if I'm still able to run tonight or not. That's why I woke up at 4 a.m. I feel great. These runs might not move the needle, but it will still a lot of confidence in me. And it's a decision that I can take in order to take control of today's outcome. So maybe you have been in a similar situation, or you're right now when you're watching this, and just understand that every decision we make or not is still a decision. So if you want to go out and lock in and run, even though your schedule might be tight, make sure you make time for it. Otherwise, the time will control you. So with that being said, full day of basically traveling ahead of me. Very excited to go to Madrid, and I can't wait to celebrate Christmas with my family. Alright guys, 10 kilometers completed. Average pace 4 minutes and 57 seconds, minute per kilometer pace. Overall time 50 minutes and 32 seconds. Alright fam, we have arrived in Madrid and this is our hotel room. Looks pretty good, nothing too fancy. But as of right now, to be honest, I'm very, very hungry. So what I will do is I will grab a lunch. And after that, I will just go through the city, just walk a little, because we have basically been seating the entire trip, which I don't like at all. And after that, of course, I'm gonna do some work as well later tonight. So with that being said, it's time for some food right now. Alright fam, good morning. It's Thursday morning, it's the 18th of December, and today it is my last day in Madrid before I will travel back to basically the city where my family lives here in Spain to spend, of course, Christmas with them. But first things first, I have a 21-kilometer long run on my schedule today, which will take place here in Madrid. I will go to basically the park here, which is called Retiro. It's a very big one. I can literally just go in circles there for 5-kilometer loops over and over again until I hit the 21-kilometer point, where I will head back then to the hotel. So initially, of course, I have my speed workouts on a Thursday, but I was basically thinking ahead, and on Saturday my parents will arrive basically where I will head off to today as well. And the Sunday might be more occupied in terms of time, so I've basically switched up the workouts that I initially had on Sunday to today, and the one that I had normally today to Sunday. So this is something that I always apply in most of the time, literally everything that I do in life, but especially during training, to still get my workouts in, and doing that by forward thinking and backwards planning. So I can still do the work in a week that I set out for myself, even though we might need to be flexible at certain times in order to still commit to that workout for that week and literally switch up the dates, for example. So that's what we have on our schedule for now, 21-kilometer long run. I'll take you guys with me, and afterwards we have breakfast, of course, lunch, and then we head back to basically the city where my family lives. So let's get it, guys. Alright guys, so on these morning runs I always get the most solitude, most room for thought, and I get the best insights, such as the one that I got today as well. Because you know, on these runs the one thing that we do is running, but what we gain from it is that we become very confident about ourselves, especially that we can basically like win against our past self, the past self that maybe thinks that we are not capable of achieving the goal that we have set out for ourselves. But the truth is, if we commit to a process and you're gonna do the work every single day, you're basically gonna adjust your schedule according to, let's say, what life has to offer, right? Because there are always times when we can basically put less work in, such as right now with Christmas. But if we are still able to commit to the goal by adjusting our schedule and still doing the work that should be done in order to create the outcome we desire, that's when we win on ourselves. We win confidence, and that confidence that stacks up significantly over time. And that's the best part. There's not only, let's say, the race that we need to run, that is just every single run along the journey that gets us to our goal.
Alright fam, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the past, let's say, year of training is literally having a North Star on where I'm heading to on a week-to-week basis. So how my schedule looks like right now is super simple. On Monday I go to the gym, Tuesday I have a 20-kilometer easy run, Wednesday I hit the gym, Thursday I have a speed and interval workout, and this is basically being created in an organized way because on Monday I'm hitting my legs. So I want to at least have 48 hours minimum in between this leg workout and the speed and interval workout that happens on Thursday. Friday I have an 18-kilometer easy run, and in the evening I also hit the gym. Saturday a gym session, and on Sunday I have my long run, which is always 21 kilometers or more. This, as of right now, 114 days out from the marathon, I'm hitting an average of around 70 to 80 kilometers a week. And this is obviously not enough in order to basically hit a sub 240 marathon. It is very simply put doing more volume and not, like, let's say specifically more speed, because we will build speed up significantly on our easy runs when we're running slow, so we can really hit this 20 to, let's say, 30% of the workouts that we do in terms of speed and interval work as hard and basically at our best as possible. That is the goal. So this is my training schedule right now. And as I mentioned, by having this North Star, setting up my week ahead of time, it allows me to really be very intentional on what I need to do on a day-to-day basis. Basically, forward thinking and backwards planning made the biggest difference for me in order to understand what I need to do and how I will execute on it. Where I'm getting to in terms of my peak of the build is of course going to be slightly different. As you can see here as well, my minimum will be at least 100 to 110 kilometers per week when we hit around 10 up until 4 weeks out of the build itself. Because from 10 weeks out, that's also where I will get into in the later videos, we are also going to incorporate our 3 to 4 big workouts. And these big workouts are very, very big confidence boosters. And of course, we'll also crank up our weekly kilometers very significantly. So where we are getting to in terms of my peak is that we will run 5 times a week and we will reduce strength training. Why we do that is because we literally don't need more muscle in order to become faster while still maintaining a certain physique and also going to the gym to basically prevent injuries. That is the main reason basically why I go to the gym. And of course, because I feel really good when I'm also having that, let's say, switch between gym and the runs. But in the peak of the build, I will have my Mondays a 20-kilometer easy run, Tuesday 20-kilometer easy run, Wednesday I'll hit the gym, Thursday is our speed and interval workout, Friday I also still have my double day, which is 20 kilometers easy and gym in the evening, Saturday gym, and Sunday a minimum of 25 kilometers easy long run. So this overall of course be a minimum of 100 to 110 kilometers a week. So with all that being said, as of right now, 114 days out, my weekly kilometers are like not even close to where I want it to be. But that's also how we need to approach the build, how you should do the same when you're getting into your first prep or you want to PR your last race, that we don't need to start directly at the pinnacle. We need to build it up like step by step, just like a pyramid. In order to go to the peak, we need to start very broad, maybe not having that much volume yet, but building it up by 10% every single week. That's my rule of thumb that helps me so much, and it also helps me prevent injuries. So if you want to basically start from, let's say, 20 kilometers a week and you want to get to 60 kilometers a week, I would highly encourage you to not directly start from go from 20 to 40 to 60, but really build it up in terms of volume by increasing it by 10% every single week. And why I'm saying this is because this has helped me personally. I genuinely hope as well that it will help you when you're going to approach your marathon, so you prevent injuries, you become faster, not by running faster, but by running more volume. So with all that being said, this is what we are getting into right now. And I genuinely hope that you can also apply this to your own schedule.
Alright fam, good morning. It's the first day of Christmas. It's the 25th of December. And today, it's a beautiful day here in Spain, as you can see. Yesterday, this was the most important day of the year in Spain, as always, which is called, in the night especially, Noche Buena. It was very late, like lay in bed around 2 a.m. in the morning. Right now it's 8:30 a.m. Very little sleep. But today we have an 18-kilometer easy run on the schedule. And to ramp up this video as well, I basically wanted to let you guys in on one very important lesson that I learned around 4 or 5 years ago, basically unconsciously. And that is that I was basically very unintentional in the beginning about the choices that I made or not even made myself, which was still a decision that I took. But when I learned about the concept about forward thinking and backward planning, it changed my entire world. I mean that. Here's why. Alright, so and basically what this means is that when we are in a build, or when you're basically set out a goal for yourself, you know you need to do a specific thing, a specific action to reach the goal, right? But that does not mean that we cannot be flexible in order to basically achieve that midway checkpoint. So if you're basically going to set out the goal to run maybe 20 kilometers a week, or 50, or 100, right? That does not mean that you cannot tweak in between to basically, just shift up your workouts according to your schedule, such as during Christmas. That's what I've done. Today, I normally had a speed workout. Right now I have an 80-kilometer easy run that I basically switched up with the speed workout that I have tomorrow. Because I know that I cannot be, let's say, at my 100% for a speed workout right now with just 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But we are still able to do the workouts that we set out intentionally, literally a week ahead. So with that being said, forward thinking and backwards planning allows us to basically do the work at times that we might not be able to do it otherwise. Because we know exactly what we need to do in order to create that outcome that we have set out for ourselves. And so the biggest wins, especially in the beginning, are not created by just hitting a certain pace or having an X heart rate and an X time. No. In the beginning, our most important win, especially when you're approaching your first marathon, is going to be about showing up. Not for anyone else, but for yourself. Because that will instill confidence, living up to your words. And with all that being said, that is exactly what you're going to do when you're going to start with forward thinking and backwards planning. So guys, thank you for watching. I hope it's valuable, and I'll see you in the next one.